What's up, knife freaks, sharpest geeks, and purveyors of stabby goodness? Welcome to the Knife Freak Show. My name is Jonathan McNeese, joined by my lovely co-host and wife, Miss Amy McNeese.
What's up, guys?
Hope everybody's been having a great week. We said we were going to try to get back on track with the podcast, so here we are trying to get you another episode in. We're going to try to keep this one kind of short and sweet, I think, today. We got quite a bit of stuff going on, but we wanted to hop on here and run our mouths for a little bit. She's looking at me like maybe that was just me, but
You're looking good. Got your feller back.
yeah, getting there. Hopefully in a couple of days we go back for what should be my final checkup after surgery. Should be released from my restrictions so I can get back lifting weights and all that good stuff. So then I can really feel like normal. I feel
We have missed your gym selfies, but
oh, I know y'all have. Don't feel like myself when I can't get in there. So feel much better though. Thinking much more clearly. I think I finally cleared all that anesthesia and crap out of my system. Feeling a lot more like myself now. So no excuses now. Got to get it done.
we had a fantastic Tanto drop yesterday.
Yeah, we
Thanks
did.
to everybody who grabbed one.
The pocket Tantos. Those of you that
Pocket
didn't see it
Tanto.
going on, don't get too excited. It wasn't the folders yet. Keyword yet. They're coming. So, yeah, that was a great drop. They sold out really
Lots
quick.
of interest in those little guys.
Yeah, lots of people signing up for notification
Everybody
restock.
likes the small
Yep.
fixed blades.
Yep, the little pocket size fixed blades are really hot right now. So we got 3 models that fit the bill on that, between the pocket Tanto and the Muck and the PSK. Now it's just a matter of making more of them. But we do have, so give you guys a little shop news that kind of segues into that. We do have we had a new employee start this past Monday. He's doing a great job. I think he's going to be a great addition to the team. Got really high hopes for that. We've got another new member starting this coming Monday. And really excited to see what he can do. And my tentative plan is to assign him to fixed blade production. Because I'll be honest with you, right now, the way things work, everybody is set up to pretty much do their thing on the folders. You know, the folders go through, we're so used to doing folders, we take them through the steps of the process. And if I don't take time out to either myself or make one of them take time out from, like, say, blasting folder parts or whatever to do fixed blade parts, then basically the fixed blades, we've got a bunch of them sitting here of the different models sitting here ground and basically just ready to finish, blast, tumble, put the handles on them, sharpen them. And it's just not getting done because we're so focused on folders and we've been struggling to hit our number on folders. And, ideally, I want to be able to do the same thing we've been doing with folders, put out, I don't want to take away from our number of folders that we're making, but I want to be able to add fixed blades into the mix too. But we're going to need somebody that's kind of assigned to make sure they keep flowing through the system. So, somebody, hope possibly the new guy that's starting Monday is going to be assigned to that. So we can hopefully keep a more steady flow of them going. We're getting the processes dialed in pretty good. It's honestly just been a manpower thing. But like I said, it's either work on fixed blades and take time away from folders, or keep making folders and try to slip a few fixed blades in here and there. So we're going to try to get over that hump. I think we're pretty close to that. Let's see what else. Tax show's coming up. We talked all about it last week. I told you guys we were going to try to have some of the Warncliffe Dixons there. They've been driving me completely crazy. So I do think we're still going to have a small handful of them, but they have not cooperated the way I want them to. Honestly, the grinding the blades has been fine. I changed up the tombstone. I made a new tombstone. I changed some stuff. And as far as running the chamfer on them, on the whole, has been completely killing me. I haven't been able to get it right. And I know why, but it's too late to change it now on these, if that makes sense. It's something that needed to have been done earlier in the process. So we're going to have to figure out a different way we're probably just going to hand chamfer them, honestly. We're probably going to go old-fashioned with some sandpaper or whatever and just chamfer them a little bit. So that'll also kind of make this first very, like, we're probably gonna have less than 10 of them, guys. Matter of fact, I'm with 10 max. I think is what we'll have. I think that's like all the viable blanks that I have left after I've screwed several of them up trying to get the chamfers right. But we had probably less than 15 to start with. It was just kind of a proof of concept, and then now I'm wishing I had more, but it's fine. So do and completely plan on having those, and we'll see what else we're able to bring. I'm not sure. We're definitely going to bring some of our more normal kind of stuff. We might have one other newish thing too, depending on if I run out of time or not. So we shall see.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I know. I'll tell you later.
Aren't you sneaky?
Well, it rhymes with Banto. I have some of the Big Dixon Tanto blades ready to grind. So at that point, they basically need to be ground. The chamfers need to be done, which will might not have the same issue with them as with the Warncliffs on the chamfer. But the problem is I've got to take time to proof out the actual, like I got to basically start over on the program to do the Tanto with, and I'm going to try to base it on what I did on the Pocket Tanto and kind of use that, but it's not like I can just copy and paste it. I'll have to do some manipulating and some trial and error, walking it in. I call it, try to do one, see what was wrong, try another one. But if I happen to get lucky and they go pretty well, we might have at least a couple of those. We definitely won't have any huge amount, that's for sure. Probably about it for the show.
We are going on vacation week after next.
Mm-hmm. Which means
we took like 2 days out of the shop at the 4th of July to go on a quick little trip, but we're actually taking a full week off and
yep. We'll still try
taking a much needed break.
Yeah. Try to hit social media a little bit, and I'm planning on trying to load up my desktop computer and take it with me, and so I can do some fusion stuff, but that's just so I don't get cranky, because if I sit around too long and don't do anything, I start getting cranky.
And if he gets cranky on this vacation, he doesn't get to go on another.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take myself something to do so I can feel productive a little bit while we're there, and I think that'll keep me from being cranky. That and you giving me the stink eye when you need to. You watch, I'll load that computer up, haul it down there, and I'll be
he won't even touch
completely lazy this trip and not even worry about it. We'll see. But anyway, yeah, that trip, with that being in the mix too, there's a pretty decent chance the Tantos won't happen. But I'm always overly optimistic, so we shall see. But anyway, that's pretty much it. We will plan on we won't have a ton of fixed blades for the show, but I do plan on having a little bit of variety. I'm hoping to have at least a couple of every fixed blade model that we have at the show. So, if you're interested in fixed blades, make sure you come by and see us for that if you're coming to the show. And I hope after last week's podcast that maybe even more of you are planning on coming to the show and checking it out, because I'm really excited about this one. I really am. It's new. Going to be different from the other shows that we do, and I hope it does well. So
absolutely,
we're going to do our part to try to help. All right. So speaking of shows and stuff like that, one of the things I want to discuss today is Whatnot, right? Because I don't think it's anything widespread, but we have seen a little bit of Whatnot hate going on online, and I wanted to kind of give you guys our perspective on it. Like, to the point where I've seen people, whether they mean it or not, I don't know, but I've seen people saying that if they found out that a maker was selling on Whatnot, that they wouldn't buy anything from them anymore. Which, to be honest with you, I do not understand. Like, unless there's something about the platform that I don't know, like it's controlled by the Chinese government or something. Like, if so, then I'd love to know that. That'd make a lot of difference.
Definitely.
But I mean, honestly, that's kind of like the level of hate that some of the comments had. You know what I'm saying? Like it, like
Definitely.
you're doing something morally or ethically wrong by selling on there or something. I just don't really understand that.
Well, it's a little confusing to me because like our dealers still get what our dealers get. Like
Right.
they ask for what they want, we send them what they want. Like
Yeah.
the stuff that we've had on Whatnot is stuff that our dealers 99% of the time wouldn't want anyway. They don't like the wild colors. They don't like the different stuff. They
Yeah.
don't
It
they
gives
don't
us-
get a lot of fixed blades with the exception of a couple of them.
Yeah.
You know, most of our dealers won't even take fixed blades.
Several.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, we're working on that. But yeah, you're right. Like it gives us a chance to do some wilder stuff, which, like you said, a lot of the dealers don't want to take a chance on because they don't
well,
know how it's
and the
gonna
rest
sell.
of the merchandise, like dealers don't get merchandise.
Right. The
So
rest of it's merch.
it literally
And-
has nothing to do.
Yeah,
with
and I don't know
anything
about I don't know about some of the other makers or manufacturers, but I mean, you guys that have been on our Whatnot show, we don't sell a ton of knives on there. We do a mixture of a handful of knives.
I think the most
and
we sold on
merch.
there is like 10.
Yeah, so we're not detracting away from sales that could be going to dealers by doing that. But even if we were, still our prerogative to do that. Like yes, we appreciate our dealers, and yes, we want to help them out and send product to them and everything too. But
Well, yes, but you also have to prepare for downtimes. And we've been through a lot of downtimes, and we had a very small percentage of our dealers who still wanted to
that stepped
get
up.
stuff,
Yeah.
step up and do what.
Yep. When the
And-
market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, at the end of the day, we still have employees to pay and we still have a business to run. So,
We got to do what we got to do.
and I know that from the customer's point of view, they probably don't see that, but you can't necessarily always rely on your dealers.
No, it's not. You can't, and that was proven over the last couple of years. Because yes, for sure, we had dealers that were getting stuff when everything was selling. Basically, they could get it from us and sell it basically before they could even they could write us a check, send it to us, and before that check even got to us, they'd already sold out of everything they got from us. So like they basically were out no money.
Well, and let's also be very transparent about that. We sent everything to dealers, even when we could have dropped it on our site and not taken a % loss.
Right.
Like we could have kept a lot of the money that we chose to continue to feed our dealers.
Yeah, we tried to, while times were tough, we tried to support them too. But yeah, there was quite a few of them that you just kind of got really scarce when the last couple of years when the market tightened up. After the COVID bubble kind of burst, there was definitely several of our dealers that kind of you just didn't hear from them nearly as much. And then, of course, as soon as things started picking back up, or we came out with a new model or whatever that picked up the sales, then here they all come again. So you're right. Like that's, again, we want to work with dealers, but the whole point of working with dealers is for them to help us promote. Like we're not working with dealers just to do sales. We're working with dealers to increase the footprint of our brand, right? It's to get more awareness out there so they can reach people that we don't already reach. Like we don't have a problem with actually, selling stuff, packing it, shipping it, all that. We do that literally every day anyway. So like, it's not like we're one of these companies that doesn't want to deal with direct to consumer stuff because we do that constantly. The whole point of working with dealers is to try to expand our footprint, try to grow the brand. And so anyway, getting
Well,
off
and
on
I mean, honestly, currently we have in stock notification signups pretty much constantly for the Little Dixon, but we haven't listed any on the website lately. We've sent all of those out to dealers.
Right. We're steadily getting restock notifications, which, you guys, when you sign up on the website, like something's out of stock, you get notified. So that tells us, that the demand is there, but it's like she said, instead of listing them on the site, we're sending them out to dealers. So anyway, like I don't want to get on an entire dealer rant here, but, back to the Whatnot thing, I don't know. And I honestly don't think it's that many people. I think one thing is that you got people that there's always going to be a percentage of people that don't want to deal with anything new. They don't want to adopt the new any new software. They don't want to deal with a new app. They just want to do things the same way they've always done them. They've
Well,
got
and
their
there's people like me. I have no interest in buying stuff off of Whatnot.
mm-hmm.
Not that I'm trying to tell y'all not to, but like that's just not
It's not your
my
style.
my personality. Like
No. So what I can assume, the only other thing I can really assume is an issue is that, it's an auction site. So I assume that people are mad because they have to get on there. They can't just get on there and buy something at normal retail. Well, technically you can. So like here's what we do, guys. We start all of our knives, all of our products that we sell to dealers and stuff that have MAP pricing. We start all of them at the MAP pricing. And yes, a fair percentage of them sell for over MAP. Most of it's not drastically over, especially not by the time you subtract out the Whatnot fees. Like occasionally we'll have one that goes a little high. It's not like we're selling them for double or triple what retail is, but not anywhere close. Like we maybe make enough to cover our Whatnot fees plus a little bit of extra, but it's not much. But if the knife sells for MAP pricing, for the normal retail price at the auction, if one person bids on it or whatever and gets it for that price, we're tickled. We're happy that somebody bought the knife. If it sells for a few dollars extra, that's great, but that's not really we're not doing anything to try to like run the price up or anything. We're putting the stuff up. We do try to put more, like she said, the more colorful stuff, like the more unusual stuff, that kind of things up there, just little onesies, twosies of things that we've done. The guys get excited and play with some different anodizing, something like that. Or occasionally it'll be the first couple of something that we've done.
Well,
they're kind of special.
Some of our Whatnot customers are kind of new to the knife world and like they have different ideas of what they think looks good.
And the platform, like it or not, it's drawing in customers into the knife community that weren't necessarily knife collectors. Like we've talked to some, not that weren't knife collectors before, and guys like, you might want to have a tendency.
That's a great thing.
Yes, that's a great thing for all of us, because if you have more customers, that means the companies that are selling to those companies, our customers can do better. Those companies can do better, then that means they're like for us, if we do better, we can grow, we can hire more people, allows us to make more products so it's more available, allows us to come up with the new products, things like that. Like, you can't look at it as competition and, there's more customers or whatever, I'm not going to get what I want. It will actually help to increase the supply. If people, you think about it, if you're a company and you got a limited demand, well, then you're only going to make just so much supply. Or if you can only sell just so many products, well, then you're only going to make just so many products. If we can sell as many products as we can possibly make because we got plenty of customers, then we just keep doing that, reinvesting the money back in the company, growing, making more. The amount of stuff that we can make goes up. And that's true for every other company out there, that has any interest in growing. So it's good for the knife community in general to bring more people into it. So that's one bonus plus that I see about Whatnot. And here's my biggest take, guys. And honestly, the biggest reason that we're doing it is because, to me, it is the next best thing to doing an actual in-person show. It's the next best thing to doing something like Blade Show or the TAC show that's coming up we've been talking about. And so, no, you're not technically in person, but you're getting to live stream, interact with your customers, answer questions, get to know them better, let them get to know you better. It's very casual. It's very laid back. We joke around. We have a great time. It's basically for us, we do it once like every other week. So it's every other week hangout with people where we sell a little bit of stuff. And again, not for, some of the swag goes for like shirts and stuff like that. Some of that stuff goes for way more than I would expect it to, but not because we're trying to.
Literally could not I don't have time to list everything that we have as an option on the website. Like that's just
back to the manpower thing.
We don't have the time company, to do it. And like we have our standard stuff, and then we just do different stuff, that logos that we've had for forever that we need to do something with, that honestly probably didn't even sell when they were listed on the website. It's not like
there's literally stuff that we sell on there sometimes, especially like shirts and stuff, that is stuff that is available. They could literally hop off of Whatnot and go to the website and buy it for just retail price. But most of the people that are buying on Whatnot are there because they like using the platform. They like the rush of bidding for something, the competition of it, getting to be the one that won the auction and your name pops up there.
And there's giveaways.
And there's giveaways. That's another appeal to it. Pretty much every show, including ours, runs giveaways all through it. Does a bigger one we do a bigger one at the end for the buyers that have bought during the show. So yeah, there's a lot of incentive to do it. But just because maybe you don't like buying in that kind of format doesn't mean that other people don't. I mean, eBay's been around for forever and it's freaking huge. I mean, it's, there's buy it now and stuff on there, but it's primarily an auction site. I mean, so obviously people like buying like that. I mean, it's not like people haven't been buying knives on eBay for forever either, even though I don't recommend it because there's a lot of shady crap on there. And I'm sure there's probably some shady stuff on Whatnot already too. And there may be some shady dealers and stuff, but guys, like, if you're going straight to a show from like a manufacturer like us, out of Chavez is on there, Demco's on there, several other ones. I'm not be able to mention them all, but like, I can't even imagine what kind of shady stuff like that we could do on there if we tried. So like, it's just straight up, like I said, it's the next best thing to a show. We're getting to interact with people. We get to hang out. We have a good time. They get to see us, not just our videos that we're posting, but they're actually interacting with us, get to know us better, which may make them like us less. It may make them like us more. It just depends. But like, and so here's my thing. So if you're going to compare it kind of to a show, right? So if the customers that come to, say, Blade Show, right? Let's just say Blade Show Atlanta. The customers that come there, nobody thinks it's a bad thing for customers to come to Blade Show and talk to makers and manufacturers and buy stuff in person, right? The main reasons people travel to Blade Show is for the people. I mean, in a large part for the customers. I mean, there's friends and all that stuff. There's the camaraderie. But one of the biggest reasons is so they can interact with makers and manufacturers, and it's so they can get special stuff, right? All right. So most of the special stuff at Blade Show, of the really special stuff, how is it sold?
By auction.
By auction. So
or
how,
lotto.
Or a lotto, or the really special stuff, a lot of it is by auction. So number one, how is that any different than trying to get something special or whatever off of Whatnot and doing an auction there? It's the same thing. It's not like the auctions are new. People run online auctions all the time. I know we don't hardly ever do them, but there's people that run online auctions like almost constantly. And that's, if you choose to not want to participate in an auction, that's fine. I don't blame you, but there's nothing wrong with it.
I don't blame anybody who doesn't want to get on Whatnot either.
No, not at all.
I don't understand the hate and saying that you're never going to purchase from that company.
Right, like they're doing something ethically wrong. And so back to the Blaze Show thing. So for somebody that goes to a show, and I don't think anybody would argue that it's bad or dumb or stupid or whatever for somebody to go to a show, right? To talk to makers, potentially get some special stuff, maybe enter some auctions. Well, to come to that show, that person, depending on where they're coming from, some of these people have spent a significant amount of money. They have gone, they've booked a hotel, they've flown or driven, they're eating out. So the hospitality industry, they're paying for the tickets to the show. The hospitality industry, to include Blade Show itself, is making quite a bit of money off of that person, which is less money that they have to spend with the makers and manufacturers. So on Whatnot, they're being able to interact with the makers and manufacturers, or getting the chance to purchase special stuff, or just, whatever. Some of it's normal run-of-the-mill stuff, some of it's special stuff, but without paying all that extra. So if they end up paying a little more on an auction than retail, and the maker or the manufacturer gets that money, how is that a bad thing? How is it worse for somebody inside the knife industry, for the maker or the manufacturer or the dealer even, to make a little extra money on a sale versus the hospitality industry making that money? Because that is almost a one-to-one comparison to me. You go to a show to do the same things that you're getting on Whatnot to do. Nobody blinks an eye and thinks that there's anything wrong with going and spending extra money to be able to, because you may, even if you go and just buy a knife at table price, you've already spent way more than that to buy that knife because of all the money that you spent on, the hospitality stuff. So how is that okay, but it's not okay for a person to get on Whatnot, voluntarily bid a little higher on a knife, and win the auction, pay a little more for the knife. The maker gets a little bit of extra money, and instead of the hospitality industry getting it. Explain to me how that's possibly some bad, egregious thing that would make you not want to buy from a maker or a manufacturer.
It's not. And I mean, honestly, like, so the other way we usually sell our popular stuff is via drop on the website. Well, that's not for everybody either.
Nope.
Like, it's just
people complain.
Being able to offer another outlet for sales versus the traditional website drop.
That's a great point, because every time we do not every time, virtually every time, and it's not just us, it's with dealers, it's with other manufacturers. Most of the time, if you do a really popular drop that goes, that sells quick, there's going to be that certain percentage of people that are going to complain. They're going to whine and moan because it wasn't fair. They got sniped and blah, blah, blah. It's
and
this,
they
it's
take
that.
The time to email and tell you.
Right. And they complain about it and all that. Well, Whatnot gives you a chance. If you want it bad enough, if you want it so bad that you're going to complain and write emails and stuff afterwards, it gives you the chance to get on there. And if you're willing to spend a little bit of extra money to outbid the next person or whatever, then you get a chance at that thing. Like, guys, this is a business. Like, all of us are in this, all of the makers, manufacturers, the dealers, we're all in this. It's a business. Now, I know us, and I think most of the people in this industry want to run a very fair and reasonable business. We're not trying to like maximize profit to, at the sake of screwing over customers or whatever. We want the stuff to be as reasonable as we can possibly get away with and still have the company do what we want it to do as far as growth and stuff like that. But I don't. And if we're missing something, if there's some part of it that, is sticking in people's craw, that's, a problem, then please, by all means, comment on our video on YouTube or shoot us an email or whatever, because I would really like to know, like, where
it may be that, like, I have no idea how other knife companies are doing it. Like, if they're selling everything they got on Whatnot and that's what's making people, but I think that we've been doing it as fairly as it could possibly be.
I can't imagine, like, as few knives as we sell on there, I just cannot imagine anybody, having a problem with that. We're still sending the vast majority of our stuff to dealers, as much as we ever have, as fast as we can make it. And to be honest, we've been a little slower the last 3 months, probably, maybe more, this year, because we had some turnover in the shop. We talked about it, I think, on here. We had some turnover. We had to train new people up in some critical positions and stuff. We're still hiring more people, but like it slowed us down. Like, we had not been able to have the output that we had. So like we haven't had as many knives to put out and stuff. But you know what? Like, the overhead didn't really go away. We ended up replacing, we've now replaced the people that turned over or whatever. So we don't have less payroll, but we're making less knives. So guess what? If we can get on Whatnot and make a few extra bucks on a couple of them, that, like I said, the customer is totally willing to pay. Nobody's twisting their arm. It's probably less extra money than they would pay to go to a show and pay all that money to the hospitality industry than to be able to buy the said knife. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's just, I don't see the problem with it. If anybody does, then please, by all means, enlighten us. But for now, we have no intention of stopping. We're going to keep doing Whatnot. And again, it may be a tiny, you know how it is, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Like, you notice the people that are saying the negative stuff, and people love to pile on negative threads and comments and stuff. So it's probably actually a very small percentage of people that even have an issue with it. But if there's some legitimate,
but either way, we wanted to tell you guys why we do it.
Yeah, and just explain the thought behind it. Like I said, of like, I don't see it as any different than somebody going and spending the extra money to go to a show so they can interact with a maker. If they want to spend a little bit of extra money on there to win an auction, but they're able to interact with the maker, ask them to sign the box, the whole deal, which they do a lot on there, then obviously to them, it's worth it to spend that extra money above retail for that experience. And so who's to say that that's wrong? Like, that's the experience that they want. They're enjoying it, obviously, or they wouldn't be on there doing it. Nobody's twisting their arm, making them get on there. So that's my thoughts on it. But I would love to hear some feedback on it, see what you guys think. But short of something like it's Chinese owned or whatever, and it's all money's going straight to the Chinese government or something, I don't foresee us changing that. So while she's Googling that,
maybe I should chat it.
yeah. So the other thing I wanted to talk about today is not going to take very long. I wanted to give you guys a quick little rundown on some of my design philosophy and stuff, some of the stuff that's behind some of my designs and why I make knives the way I do and stuff. So, sorry, she's showing me
Does not look like it.
Does not look like, I mean, who knows with all the venture capital stuff and all that, but it definitely does not seem to be directly Chinese.
Grant LaFontaine.
Grant LaFontaine is the co-founder and CEO. So anyway.
And Logan Head is the other co-founder and chief technology.
So anyway. So yeah. So I want to give you guys a little rundown of kind of some of my design philosophy, why I build the knives the way we do and all that stuff. So I think let's start with the fact that as a human being, how do I put this? I'm kind of a bull in a china shop.
You're definitely a bull in a china shop.
I am.
Anybody who's ever been around you is fully aware of that.
Okay. So I am not easy on things. I'm pretty rough on my environment. The tools I use.
You're pretty rough on me.
Yeah. Well. The tools she's a battered wife over here.
I think everybody knows I would not be a battered wife.
I think I would be a battered husband, if anything. That was the real reason I was in the hospital, guys. I'm just, I'm going now. Look, blink twice if you're, okay. So yeah, to put it politely, I'm very rough on things. I always have been. As a kid, I tore stuff up constantly. I still tear stuff up constantly. Like, it's just who I am. Doesn't seem to change because I've tried to be more careful sometimes.
This confessional.
It just gets worse.
What is going on here?
I mean, it is what it is. But that goes into, people have always talked about that our knives are, beefy, overbuilt, that kind of stuff. And they are to a certain extent. But I try to make them to walk the line between making them beefy and overbuilt, but still very functional for everything they need to do. Because you can go way over the top with beefy overbuilt, which I have done in the custom days. You can go way over the top with it, and to where it doesn't really.
You think like the FMUC was over the top? What do you think was over the top?
Yeah, it was pretty over the top.
Oh, people love the FMUC.
They loved it, but it was definitely over the top as far as overbuilt. It had a 1/4-inch stop pin, which is, I mean,
it was definitely chunky.
It's very chunky. Had a big 1/4-inch stop pin, like it just. It was very overbuilt. But I try to do stuff that walks the line between being plenty beefy enough and tough enough to handle pretty much anything that's thrown at it, but still function really well as a knife, so it actually cuts and slices and does the things that you want a knife to do. So that has had a big influence on how I design stuff is, the fact that I know I'm rough on stuff. I need to make stuff, and I carry my own stuff. Got a Mac 2 3.5 in my pocket right now. And I do not go easy on them, guys. I beat the crap out of my stuff. So, that's the way I feel like you should. That way real world experience, how it's going to hold up. Not just testing and stuff in the shop. I carry them and just use them for whatever. Like I said, my normal everyday life, which is rough on stuff. So, now I try not to be stupid. I try not to use them as a pry bar and, stupid stuff like that. I try to actually be a reasonably normal knife owner, but I'm not going to shy away from dirty, nasty stuff or, tough cutting jobs and stuff like that. So, that's honestly a lot of the reason behind when you look at, how my stuff is built, there's a lot of that behind it as far as the overbuilt stuff. And that kind of leads me to talk a little bit about the high performance hollow grind. I've talked about it quite a bit, but that's one of the advantages of it. And one of the reasons I was so adamant that we get to a point where we could do a good hollow grind on our knives and not just go the route of sending them out and having them flat ground like almost everybody else does.
The much easier route.
Much easier route. Much easier route. We could have pumped out way more knives over the first 3 or 4 years we were, a production company. Had we and we did get some done like that because we basically had to, because I just could not get the grinds figured out enough for us to, survive off of that. So what that does is it allows us to use a little beefier stock. We can use a little thicker stock on the folders and stuff, particularly. We can use a little bit thicker stock. So you get that extra toughness and all that, and take the grind down really thin, nice and hollow. So you still get the performance of a really thin, slicey grind, but you also get the performance of a thicker, more robust blade. So that was a real key to us really being able to make the knife that I wanted to, because I needed it to be robust and all that. I'm just not at some point I might make some kind of little thin gentleman's type folder, but it's just not my style.
You do some thinner stuff, like for me and stuff back in your custom days. I have a thinner baby bolt.
Yeah. I did occasionally, but very rarely, and it was usually for something special like that, where it was like for you or something. But yeah, or just had some thin material that I needed to use.
So he can do it.
Yeah, it's not that I can or can't. It's like just getting out of my normal design. Well, I think
you did a good job of getting out of that with some of the new fixed blades.
Yeah.
I think the foul play is, while it's a very tough knife, it is kind of more dainty.
A little. Yeah, it is a little, but we still took steps with it. Even it's not super thin. Honestly, it could probably almost be a little thinner for, like especially for things like, cleaning fish and stuff. But it's only, 125,000, 1/8 inch thick at the stop. But then that hollow grind, makes a ton of difference. But also because it's so thin and pointy, the tip is so fine on it. When we grind them, we actually do it's kind of the opposite of a distal taper on a grind. Basically, the grind is a little thinner back at the sharpening choil and gets a little thicker out towards the tip, because if we didn't, that tip would be so fine that they probably wouldn't hold up real well. So we took some precautions even with that to make it a little more robust. Because like I said, if somebody's going to break something, I'm going to be the one to break it probably, and I don't like breaking my knives. I definitely don't like the thought of sending them out where somebody else does, because I know I'm not the only one that's rough. Somebody else might break one. And people do still tear stuff up, but most of the time it's because they're doing something. Like I said, there's a difference between being rough on stuff and flat out abusing like something. Right. There's completely, there's a line there. But, and while we're on that design philosophy, another couple of things that I'll go over are, I wouldn't say that I'm like a full-on minimalist. Like I'm not necessarily trying to make, as cool as I do think that like knives that are super clean, like with no hardware showing or anything, that is really cool. And one day I may want to do that. But I kind of walk the line between having hardware, but it not being overstated. Like I kind of like the hardware just kind of blend into the overall package. We could have, fancier pivot screws made for probably the exact same price we're having these made, but I like the clean look. It doesn't pop out and detract from the look. It's it's kind of like you look at a classic car and, say a classic, Chevelle or something. And there's nothing wrong with having like some nice rims on there, but you wouldn't want some kind of like really gaudy, if you want a truly like just classic restored car, you wouldn't want some gaudy. I wouldn't want. Some people, you see all kinds of stuff. There's obviously people that like that stuff. I don't want some gaudy super eye-catching rims or anything like that on it, because to me they detract away from the overall design. Most of these classic designs, they have lines that are appealing to the human eye, and when you start taking something and adding some kind of, crazy blinged out stuff to it, it's, to me it takes away from the overall design. Again, nothing wrong if you want to bling it out. There's lots of different tastes out there, but that's kind of how I look at, like, I want to keep the hardware kind of minimalist, kind of just fades into the background. It doesn't stand out and stick out. Not worried about it being fancy, because that's not the point. I want the overall flow of the lines of the knife to be what attracts somebody. Not, oh, that, look how cool that pivot looks, or that whatever. I want it to be, if the knife's stripped down bare or whatever, and like you covered up the pivot or something and you couldn't see it, or all the hardware, I want the lines of the knife, open and closed, to be appealing enough that somebody likes the look of it and wants it because of that, not just because it's dressed up with some bells and whistles or whatever. And so, and honestly, in my opinion, while we're on the thought of lines and all that in the flow, in my opinion, a really good design of something, whether it's a knife, whether it's architecture, whether it's a car, one of the elements that I think is very important is for it to have lines and have features that appeal to the human eye without somebody necessarily seeing every detail that makes it appealing, if that makes sense. So like the way things line up, the way the lines flow, stuff like that. Like you just look at it, like, for example, when I'm not a big car guy, but like if I look at like an old classic car, like I was saying, like I look at an old Chevelle or something like that, I'm not sitting there looking at, oh, I really like the way the hood, the way that's shaped there, and the way this fender comes back here. I know some people, car guys probably do look at that, but I don't sit there and analyze it like that. Or usually like architecture or something I like. I'm not necessarily picking apart every little detail. I might notice a couple of details, but it's more the overall flow. Like you just see it and it just like speaks to you. Like that's kind of what I'm going for with my design stuff. Like I pay attention to how stuff looks in closed position, in the open position. Like I said, being a little bit minimalist with the hardware and stuff. Like that's typically the kind of thing I'm going for. It's just clean, classic lines that look good without having to be, dressed up with a bunch of fancy stuff or whatever. And honestly, if you do notice all the little details, ideally they're probably subtle enough that you're not noticing them all at once. Like you may own it for, weeks or even months before you notice, oh, look how that lines up right there when it's closed. Look, check that out. That really makes that look good. Like there's a lot of little details that go into it that don't necessarily talk about, and a lot of people don't notice, that just go into the overall appeal of, hey, that's a good looking knife that, that appeals to me. So that's pretty much my design philosophy. I mean, whatever pieces
That's my
of
cooking philosophy. That's why you don't ever get anything you like. I only cook things I like.
Well, nothing wrong with that. I still eat plenty, I promise. But yeah, that's kind of the way I go about it, the way I look at it for the most part. I'm sure there's some other details I'm not thinking about now, but you guys know I like, blade to handle ratio, especially on folders. I really like a really close blade to handle ratio, things like that. But that, I don't necessarily see that as a design philosophy necessarily, kind of, I guess. But anyway, that kind of goes honestly into the overall appeal thing. Like some people, I think, maybe see one of our folders and maybe even, a lot of people pick up on it really quick and they're like, oh, wow, look at the blade to handle ratio on that. But I think a lot of people see them and they're attracted to them initially, and then maybe down the road they realize, all right, holy crap, how does all this blade fit in this handle? But it's got that appeal to it to start with, because it's got that balanced look because the blade to handle ratio is right. So that's one of the kind of things I was talking about. All right, so I think I'm about talked out today, believe it or not.
All right. I think, was it on the podcast last time? I need to correct myself. I said we only had TAC and Utah left, Blade West.
Oh, yeah.
That's not true. We also have the rep weekend at Smoky Mountain Knife Works. So I wanted to.
In the fall, do you know?
It's October the
It's fine. We can
October 23rd and 24th.
23rd and 24th. So yeah, might as well go ahead and start talking. That'll be here before we know it, guys. So yeah, anybody is in the Smoky Mountains area or close enough, or want to make the
Also,
trip.
I'm sure that they don't care if I say this, but we sent them some goodies for National Knife Day, so y'all might want to check them out.
Yeah, anybody that's around there, yeah, for sure. This will be a great National Knife Day. Would be a great day to go and do a little shopping there, because I'm sure some of the other companies have done the same thing, and we sent them some special swag and stuff to go with to give out as goodies with our stuff.
Yeah.
So, yep, that's a good point. All right, so guys, we appreciate it. We will let's see. We'll try to, hopefully we can sneak in one more podcast. If we don't get it done before we leave for our trip, then I might also sneak and pack up our
We might be able to do it next Friday.
podcast stuff, but we're going to try to get one in before we go. And so yeah, guys, give us some feedback on the stuff we talked about, and give us some feedback on what you want to hear. We do have the email, knifefreakshow.com.
If we can remember to check it.
Yeah, knifefreakshow@gmail.com. I'm sorry. But honestly, comments on YouTube is probably the easiest place to, or you can just, if you just listen to this, whatever, you can just shoot us an email to our site. It's fine as well. But we greatly appreciate you guys. We enjoy hopping on here and talking to you. If you're, I know we talked about Whatnot. We're going to probably try to do maybe one more Whatnot show before we go this coming week, into this coming week as well, if we can squeeze it in. So if you don't hate it, like people we were talking about, then we'd really look forward to seeing you on there. And I don't care if you come on there and buy anything or not, just come on there and interact with us, and let's have some fun, because that's the main reason we do it. So appreciate you guys, and hope you have a fantastic week, and we will see you next week.
See y'all later.